obviously lost for words. We were at the dinner last night and we found out, and it was kind of went silent, and it shows how big the hockey community is and the way it affects everyone, and can't even imagine what the players and their families and the town of Humboldt and the province of Saskatchewan, and even further on, I looked at their roster and I seen that they have Alberta kids, BC kids, and obviously it's heartbreaking, and I know guys in the locker room have been talking about it, and guys are very sad, and it's a terrible time, and it's hard to kind of figure out what to say, and because knowing what families are going through, and knowing how many hours as hockey players and athletes you put on buses, and it's the absolute most terrible thing that could ever happen.
You spend a little bit of time in that league, but your time in the Western League as well. I mean, the bus is so important. I mean, does it take you right back to those days?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously that's where the locker room and the bus trips, that's where you create bonds with, your best friends, and, the guys that you play to win for. And, it's stepping on that bus this morning, definitely, obviously you start thinking about it, and it's heartbreaking, and I can't even imagine what, the families are going through right now.
Do you have any connections to anybody on the team?
I do have a connection. It's through an old teammate, but I'll just leave it at that. Okay. I don't want to talk about that.
You also grew up in Swift Current, and there was the bus tragedy there as well. So you've seen this before, and it's painful. It's just, I'm curious. Here we are trying to celebrate the city, and now it's an outpouring of the hockey community. How important is it for you to just reach out and support? I mean, this has become a day of support.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, I played midget AAA in Swift Current. I have a former coach that was on the bus, and I have a former coach whose brother was killed in that bus accident. So it's a sad day, and like you said, celebrating the twins' great career, and then all of a sudden something terrible like this happens and puts life into perspective. And I was sitting beside Hank, and he was one of the guys that was most tuned into what was going on, and just heartbroken, and shows how far it hits home, for everyone in the hockey world, and can just offer support in any way. I know there's a lot of people doing it. It hits home because I'm from Saskatchewan, and I did play in that league, and but it doesn't matter. Everyone in the hockey world is mourning this loss.
You played in Humboldt, obviously, at some point. Did you play in Humboldt?
Yes, yeah.
So, about the community and its passion for the game.
Yeah, I played a lot of minor hockey in Humboldt. I had a short stint in the SJHL.
Right.
So Saskatchewan, it's a small little province, but some great people there, and I know the province will rally around this, and I know the hockey world will rally around them and support them in any way that we possibly can.
Great, Doris. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Matt, obviously tough news out of Saskatchewan. You were in the AJ, that level, a lot of bus trips. Just what are you feeling right now?
Yeah, it's just not me in the AJ. It's those Western Leaguers, those OHL guys. It's everybody, and it's terrible. Thoughts go out to them and their families. Hope the guys that are in the hospital battling right now, hopefully they're okay. But one of our coaches was on that bus and that lost 4 people a bunch of years ago, and it's just terrible. don't know what else to say.
Everybody in junior hockey rides buses. It's the only way
Yeah.
to get around. Too.
Yeah.
Like, when you're on buses, the weather's crappy and stuff like that. You're always just thinking that's not very nice out there.
Yeah.
Hoping something bad doesn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, just talking in the dressing room, a lot of us is rather sleeping on the bus or playing cards or even sometimes sleeping on the floor and you don't expect it. And I mean, you think you're safe most of the time because you're on a big bus, and it's just terrible.
Thank you, Matt.
I'm sure you've been going home and talking to people.
Yeah, it's it's a pretty tragic incident. It's it's just pretty shocking, and it's you just kind of feel sorry and feel for those families and those players, especially something like this is pretty crazy, and I think the hockey world is all pretty shocked right now and pretty sad. So I don't know. There's not much I can really put on it. I don't really haven't really got much information, or not much is really out yet on who it was or who got injured. So I'm just kind of waiting around and hoping for the best.
It's a big province, and the hockey towns are sometimes far apart. You spend a lot of time on the bus when you grow up in Saskatchewan. Can you just take us to sort of with the bus? When you look back in your hockey career, how much time's on the bus? What happens on the bus? What's the bus?
The bus is one of the best parts of junior hockey. You're together with the guys for 4 hours, and you're just kind of just having fun, hanging out, making jokes, playing cards, and watching movies. It's the best part of one of the best parts of junior hockey. It's it's and for something like this to go down, it's something you don't wish for anybody, and it's pretty sad. So it's I don't really know what to say. It's pretty tragic. Yeah.
Same age,
That's crazy. Everyone's so young, and everyone's just kids, and they're all just trying to have a good time and go for a championship like that, and for something like this to happen, it's pretty sad.
Do you have a connection to anybody on the team?
I might know 2 guys, but I don't know if they're on the bus or not. But so I'm just trying to wait and see until names get released.
You, when you're on that bus, do you feel secure? Is it the last thing on your mind?
Yeah, it's definitely the last thing on your mind. A bus is so big, you think everyone will see it, and you're at the same time you're hanging out. You're not worrying about anything. You're on your phone or talking to your buddies, relaxing. It's kind of like your time to hang out with everybody. So it's definitely nothing you expect, and it's very, it's something you just don't wish for. It's terrible.
Have you ever had any close calls when you were
I don't think I've ever had.
Obviously, you tweeted some words of condolences. Really tough news coming out of the junior league there. So, just what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot of words to explain feelings when you first read the news and then start hearing that the numbers are going to be quite staggering. It kind of numbs your whole body, and you just feel absolutely horrible for everyone close to it and everyone involved. So, just want to let everyone know we're thinking about them and the prayers are with them.
When you were in the Western League, I mean, just a lot of bus trips yourself. What were those bus trips like for individuals?
Yeah, I mean, they're team building times. They're the times you remember when you leave the leagues, like junior and the AHL. Long hours spent on the bus with the boys after a big win or a tough loss or off to a playoff game like they were off to. So. You just can't help but think how many hours you've spent on the bus in my hockey career and everyone else as well. And like I said, it's just a terrible, terrible feeling.
Time and time again, we see that the hockey world is a really small community when you think about it, and everyone kind of bonds together and binds together during times like this. Is this something that you think is going to weigh on a lot of players' minds as we head into the last few games of the season?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can't think of one single hockey team that hasn't had the conversations in their dressing room and aren't having conversations like this. Everyone just feels so bad for everybody involved, and I know everybody in the hockey world is a tight community, and anytime something happens, I mean, God forbid anything happens this bad that often, but everybody's thinking about them and everybody's feeling for them.
Give me a
Yeah, honestly. Obviously, my thoughts and prayers are with everyone that was affected by the tragedy. Honestly, it's unthinkable. Everyone in hockey knows how much time that we spend traveling around, especially on buses. And for me, some of my fondest memories in junior came on the bus, and you're always having a good time, or whatever's going on. It's always nice to be with everyone, and for something like that to happen, it's unthinkable, and I don't really know what else to say. It's a horrible accident, and we're all thinking about them.
You allude to the fact that you spend a lot of time on the bus, and it kind of becomes a safe place for players to bond. Can you take us down there a little bit?
I think for me, yeah. I said earlier that some of my fondest memories have come on the bus, and you're with all the boys and having a good time, and for me, I was telling some of the guys earlier, I never even came across my mind that something like that could happen when I was on the bus. Like, we'd hit the rumble strips or something like that, and it was funny. Like, guys would laugh or whatever. And you never think that anything bad was going to happen. You thought it was just like a haven, like a safe space. So, obviously, it's these things can happen, and yeah.
Is that why it hits home? Because every single person.
Anyone in hockey. The media. You guys travel on the plane with us, and on these buses, and in junior you're traveling on these far distances, and I think that's exactly why it hits home. Everyone has been on that bus before, and it's terrifying to see that happen.
On a day like this is probably not as important, because it mean anything to you to be on the ice with the Twins in their final game?
Yeah, obviously it's special. This is going to be a special day for them, and it's almost hard to think that they're going to play again after the way they left Vancouver. It's almost like a storybook ending, but it's going to be exciting for them. It's exciting for us to be a part of it, and hopefully we put together a good game for them.
What's your takeaway from their careers, and what do you remember the most watching them?
Just how the chemistry they had with each other, and the plays they would make. The plays that only those two could ever see. So that's definitely what I'll take away from those guys.
Thanks, Connor.
Todd, what are your feelings today? You know, you've been in Saskatchewan, you've ridden that a lot, and know that better than most people.
I'm like, I'm sure most of us in here, and certainly everybody in we talk about the hockey world. What about the real world? The other people that are out there, we're all in shock. You know, there's really no other way to put it. And we're a little bit on the outside looking in, and I can't imagine what those families are feeling and what they're going through right now. And, you know, it just won't be today. It lasts a while. They need our support. They're going to need it as soon as now, and it's going to have to last for a while. I was lucky enough to be part of a community that went through that in Swift Current, lived it and felt it. And it goes on forever. So, you know, I'm from Saskatoon. I know Saskatchewan people well. I know that Humboldt area really well. And they're as strong as they come, but they'll need our help.
Todd, when you play hockey in Saskatchewan, the road trips are a little longer than in a lot of provinces. You spend a lot of time on the bus. Your whole career, you've been on buses. Can you just let us in a little bit on where the bus fits in hockey culture?
It's as important as the ice. It takes, you know, you need basically three things to play the game. You need players, you need ice, officials, and a puck. But for all of that to happen, you've got to get all of those people to the facilities. And when you're traveling in large groups, you're on a bus or you're on an airplane in our case. And the amount of hours that teams, you know, and it's not just hockey, it's baseball, basketball, you name it, teams that spend on buses, the record's actually quite safe when you think about it. But there's many nights, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, freezing cold. Conditions aren't that great, and they're pushing through it. And some really good people that take care of those teams when they operate those vehicles. And you know, it's part of the fabric of our game is the bus.
You mentioned you were in Swift Current and what they went through. How does the community begin to put itself back together in that situation? Is that where the entire hockey world helps out? Well,
I would expand it beyond the hockey world. There's a world out there, human beings that should care about this, not just because it's a hockey element. It gets more exposure because I get to talk in front of people like you. But there's a lot of people that have no interest and could care less about hockey that are affected by this, and they care, and they have a chance to help the community heal. I know in Swift Current, that was tough.
Any connections to the Humboldt team?
My brother played there. My dad lived and worked there. I had numerous teammates in Saskatoon that played there. So, yes and no.
Even as a player and a coach, Todd, the bus was always that safe sanctuary. Some of the best times for the players were on buses, I'm sure, for you.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's the vehicle that was involved in this accident, but it's also a vehicle that provides some camaraderie and some unity amongst teams and teammates, and the stories that can be told on them, and the legends that live on those buses are some that should be told. Maybe Speck will write another book, but it's you know, it's the 1, 2, 3 incidences that happen that dampen the effect on it.